Will there ever be a restaurant on the moon? You bet there will. It's inevitable. But how will it happen? What will it look like? What are the challenges? And what will be served?
So we've already settled space. We've been living in space permanently for the last 17 and a half years. And now it's just a matter of where do we go next? Obviously enough, it's the moon. It's only 3 days away. And there's still a whole bunch of stuff that we need to invent and figure out before we can safely go as far as Mars or beyond.
We have the technology, the knowledge, and the vision to make it a reality now. A lunar outpost will serve as a stepping stone for deeper space exploration, a hub for scientific discovery, and a tourist destination where guests can experience low gravity, breathtaking views of Earth, and the thrill of walking on another world. Colonization of the moon will happen in 3 phases. In Phase 1, the initial lunar settlement will start as a small inflatable habitat delivered by cargo landers. A crew of 6 to 12 astronauts rotates in and out, relying entirely on Earth for food, water, oxygen, and equipment. Solar power provides energy and all waste is carefully recycled. In Phase 2, the outpost expands into a small base with 50 to 200 residents. Habitats 3D printed from lunar regolith replace inflatable structures. Agriculture begins in pressurized greenhouses producing some of the colony's food and oxygen. Mining operations extract water from lunar craters and metal from the regolith. In Phase 3, the settlement grows into a thriving city with thousands of people, with industries producing air, food, water, and fuel. Advanced lunar factories refine metals and create electronics. A fusion power plant provides limitless energy, and a transportation network of maglev trains and rovers connects multiple districts. The initial inflatable habitat will most likely have a rudimentary kitchen, but nothing close to the fine dining restaurant and bar that we have in mind. After spending 5 years in the inflatable habitat researching and planning, it'll be time to begin construction of the permanent moon base, along with our restaurant and bar. It'll serve as more than just a place to eat, it'll be a social hub for the entire colony. So, what's the best location to build? One of the most promising sites is Shackleton Crater, located at the lunar South Pole. Its rim receives near-continuous sunlight, perfect for generating solar power. The shadowed interior holds water ice which can be used for drinking, oxygen, and rocket fuel. Habitats could be built in lunar lava tubes. These underground tunnels provide natural shielding from radiation and extreme temperatures. Unlike the moon's surface, where temperatures swing from minus 170 degrees Celsius at night to 130 degrees Celsius during the day, the inside of the lava tube stays around minus 20 degrees Celsius. Lava tubes are massive underground tunnels formed by ancient volcanic activity. Some have been estimated to be over 300 feet wide and could extend for dozens of kilometers, making them large enough to hold entire cities. We'd love to build the colony under a glass dome on the surface, but unfortunately it wouldn't provide protection from radiation, extreme temperatures, or meteorites. A compromise could be to mount cameras outside that project live panoramic views onto screens inside the habitat, similar to inside cabins on Royal Caribbean cruise ships. When fully built, the total area of the moon base will likely be at least 1 million square feet, about 23 acres. That may sound big, but it's actually about the same size as a modern cruise ship. Areas will include private apartments for residents, each including a vacuum-based toilet and a steam shower, a central cafeteria for residents, laundry services utilizing steam for light cleaning and CO2 for deep cleaning, a hotel area with 50 to 100 private rooms with earth-facing windows via external cameras and screens, agriculture and food production area, hydroponic and aeroponic greenhouses growing fruit, vegetables, and grains under artificial light, a livestock area, workout facilities where the weights will be 2.5 times heavier than on Earth for equivalent resistance, a sports gym for low-gravity activities like basketball, rock climbing, and acrobatics, a medical center, garage and maintenance bays housing lunar rovers, autonomous mining bots, and transportation vehicles, an industrial zone which includes research labs, water and air recycling, and mining facilities to extract oxygen, water, and metals from the lunar soil. And of course, a high-end restaurant and bar for both residents and tourists. Our restaurant will need water for cooking and cleaning. Our bar will need it for ice and drinks. Is there enough water on the moon? Although it was long believed that the moon was completely dry, water was discovered in 2009, primarily as ice locked in permanently shadowed craters where temperatures remain extremely cold, about minus 230 degrees Celsius. These ice deposits can be collected by robotic miners that extract moon soil containing ice and then convert it to water at processing facilities. The amount of water ice at the moon's south pole is estimated to be in the billions of metric tons. If all wastewater is 100% recycled, water usage can be permanently sustainable. Could there be enough for pools, showers, and hot tubs? Initially, water use will be strictly rationed, making pools or hot tubs impractical. But with efficient recycling and a larger water extraction operation, the moon base could support high-end tourist experiences like showers and a heated pool.
We're working on extracting oxygen from lunar regolith. So lunar regolith by weight has a lot of oxygen in it. We know there is ice water or water ice in those craters, and we know that we can break that down with electrolysis into hydrogen and oxygen.
But we may not even need to mine it. Oxygen could be produced by a carefully designed plant-based life support system, leveraging photosynthesis to convert carbon dioxide exhaled by humans into breathable oxygen. The best oxygen-producing plants would include fast-growing, high photosynthesis species like wheat, barley, and leafy greens such as spinach and lettuce, which is perfect because these are the ingredients we would need for our kitchen anyway. Algae such as spirulina also has exceptionally high oxygen output relative to its biomass. Around 25 square meters of dense plant growth per person could generate enough oxygen. Power for our restaurant would likely come from solar panels positioned along the rim of the Shackleton crater, which gets near constant sunlight.
One of the things we're working on is using lunar resources like lunar regolith to manufacture commodities and even solar cells on the surface of the moon. We've already built a solar cell that is completely made from lunar regolith simulant.
Because the lunar night lasts about 14 Earth days, relying only on solar could be challenging. To address this, small nuclear reactors could be used as a backup during the dark periods, ensuring a reliable and consistent power supply. We're assuming that the moon base will have about 1,000 residents, and there will be 100 Earth tourists at any given time. How many tables will we need? Our restaurant would need to accommodate up to 250 guests at a time. That works out to around 65 tables, with an average of 4 guests per table. The bar should provide seating for up to 25 people and standing space for up to 50.
You look like a whiskey man. Okay.
A dedicated entertainment stage will be around 16 by 16 feet. Our moon kitchen will have many similarities to an Earth kitchen, but some adaptations will be needed. In low gravity, tools might float or roll away if not secured. at our food prep counters will include embedded magnets to keep cutting boards, bowls, and tools in place. Ingredients could be difficult to manage, especially light ones like flour, shredded cheese, or chopped herbs. An airflow system directed downward could keep small particles from floating away, similar to a fume hood in a chemistry lab. Water will be a highly controlled resource, so traditional running water sinks and dishwashers will likely be replaced with cleaning stations that use ultrasonic cleaning, steam cleaning, or high-pressure air cleaning. Also, because of the low gravity, water doesn't flow downward the same way as on Earth. Instead, it would float or form blobs. Any water used will be filtered and reclaimed, as the lunar base will have a closed-loop water system. On Earth, restaurant kitchens use exhaust fans to vent air outside. On the Moon, you can't just vent air into space. You'd lose valuable oxygen. Instead, the system would need to capture, filter, and recirculate all of the air. The restaurant would use CO2 scrubbers and oxygen regenerators to maintain breathable air. Fans would need to be stronger and strategically placed, since convection currents, which move hot air upward on Earth, are much weaker in low gravity. Odors linger longer in closed environments, so extra odor filtration would be necessary.
I'll get you a freshie.
Mine's stinky too.
Traditional cooking methods like open flames and gas-powered stoves would be dangerous due to fire hazards and oxygen consumption. So, electric and infrared-based cooking solutions will be used instead. Our grills will use vacuum-assisted grease traps which pull grease downward to prevent it from floating and contaminating the workspace. We'll use induction stoves to heat the cookware directly, avoiding fire risks and heating food efficiently. Fridges in our moon kitchen will be similar to those on Earth. However, we'll need to make them as power efficient as possible, since most of the energy will come from solar panels. Advanced vacuum-sealed insulation and phase change materials which absorb and release heat slowly could help maintain stable temperatures and use less energy. Drawer-style refrigeration instead of traditional doors could maintain cold air loss when accessing food. The most likely method for freezing food on the moon will probably be freeze-drying. Freeze-drying relies on low pressure and low temperature. Since the moon's environment already has the vacuum needed for this process, it would be energy efficient and well suited to the lunar conditions. Freeze-dried food is lighter and easier to store for longer periods of time, and it's already used on the space station, making this method well understood.
Attach it to the water distributor, choose the right quantity, and push the button.
This will probably change over time, but here is our initial menu. Starters will include lunar Caesar salad, roasted beetroot soup, bruschetta with tomato and basil. The main courses will be chicken breast, vegetarian lasagna, pizza, salmon, and veggie burger. Beverages offered will be moon brewed beer, wine, herbal teas, and lemonade. Desserts will be chocolate lava cake, fruit sorbet, and cheesecake. Our restaurant will focus on providing comforting, familiar dishes that taste just like those found on Earth. We want the colony to be as self-sufficient as possible, so we'll grow as many of our own ingredients as we can. These will include fresh vegetables, grains, and even dairy. By minimizing reliance on imports from Earth, the menu will be designed around what can be cultivated in our lunar greenhouses. Some ingredients will need to be imported, like coffee and sugar, but perhaps over time even those could be produced on the moon. Crops for our menu, such as lettuce, tomatoes, carrots, potatoes, quinoa, and various fruits will be grown in greenhouses. Artificial grow lights will work well for photosynthesis. However, since the moon lacks an atmosphere, CO2 levels would have to be enriched to promote plant growth. Hydroponics and aeroponics will be the primary cultivation methods due to their efficient water use. The water that's used for irrigation would be recycled from the habitat's wastewater. One challenge to growing fruit is that the moon lacks pollinators such as bees, so robotic pollination or manual techniques would be necessary. As much as we'd like to serve steak and beef burgers, raising cows on the moon isn't really practical due to the large water, feeding, and space requirements. Raising smaller animals like chickens, goats, and fish will still be a challenge in a closed-loop system, but can be done. Our farming methods will need to maximize sustainability and minimize waste. Chickens will be raised in compact, multi-level enclosures with perches and nesting areas, optimized for egg production and meat. Goats will provide milk, meat, and fiber, making them valuable for the colony. They'll be agile climbers, so enclosures will need to prevent excessive jumping and low gravity. Fish farming will be one of the most efficient ways to produce protein in the habitat, and it can be a closed-loop aquaponics system. Fish waste fertilizes the plants while the plants clean the water. Catfish and trout will be the best choices. What staff will be required? And how do we attract employees to work at the restaurant? Should we hire from Earth? It's tempting to automate the entire restaurant, but I do think that guests would appreciate the human connection of having a waiter seat them, take their order, and serve their food. A compromise may be to fully automate the kitchen, but not the floor. In that case, we would still need about 20 employees in total. 10 full-time staff, managers, supervisors, technicians, and bartenders, and 10 part-time staff, cleaning staff, hosts, and waiters. Those people hired may have other roles in the colony, such as an agricultural specialist who also likes to cook, or someone who's stationed on the moon with their partner but isn't currently working. Entertainment will be important not just for enjoyment but also for mental health and social bonding in the isolated lunar environment. This could include stand-up comedy incorporating space and moon-related humor, live music performances showcasing local bands, solo artists, or even holographic concerts from Earth, theatrical performances including short plays and improv, educational events like space talks from astronauts and scientists, live-stream sports from Earth including hockey, baseball, and major events like the Olympics. The stream wouldn't actually be live. You'd see events happening 3 seconds after they occur on Earth due to light speed limitations. Not a problem for watching sports, but a 3-second delay would be a challenge when FaceTiming with family back on Earth. A better way to communicate will be texting or pre-recorded messages. The SpaceX Starship accommodates 100 passengers. Although it was designed to travel to Mars, it could be used to transport passengers to the moon. Travel time is currently about 3 days. In 2006, New Horizons, on a mission to Pluto, reached the moon in just 8 hours and 35 minutes, although it wasn't slowing down to enter orbit. Both NASA and private companies are working on nuclear rockets that will reduce travel time significantly. By the time our restaurant opens, the travel time to the moon will likely be more like 12 hours instead of 3 days. With the technology that we have today, is it possible to build a permanent colony on the moon along with a fine dining restaurant? I say yes. But history proves that true progress comes from visionaries, not bureaucracy. Private companies driven by competition and innovation is what will ultimately turn an inflatable habitat into a thriving lunar city. The first restaurant on the moon is just around the corner. The table is set and the stars are waiting.
I offer a toast. The undiscovered country. The future. The undiscovered country.